Joe, what do you expect this ceremony and this day will be like?
I think it'll be first class. I think it will be great for everyone involved and a chance to be a part of this. I'm really looking forward to it, and I know we're a couple hours away, but I'm excited.
What do you think all this means to Mo?
I think it means a lot, and I think that as time goes on, it will mean even more as he has a chance to digest everything that's happened this year and, you know, what the Yankees have meant to him and what he's meant to the Yankees. I think he'll be able to reflect on it as he gets away.
Obviously, Mo has pitched in huge games. Andy Pettitte has pitched in huge games. But his last regular season start here as a New York Yankee, how do these guys turn the page after the emotions of the pregame ceremony and focus on the job that needs to be done?
Well, the good thing is Mo will have a couple hours. And Andy gets so locked in once he starts his day that I don't think it will be an issue for either one of them. You know, Andy will start his routine, and it'll be just like any other day for him.
Mike?
Joe, is it a little bit of a concern that this is so much about Mo and Andy today, and you guys are still in a pennant race? Do you worry that the focus might be taken off of the game?
No, I don't. Not at all. Our guys understand what we need to do, and if anything, I think it might provide a little bit more excitement.
Bruce?
Joe, what have you learned from from Mariano over the years?
Oh, you know, when I think about Mo, the numbers speak for themselves, what he's done in this game. But the way he's went about his business is something that you wish that everyone could do. You know, I would tell my son or my kids, this is an example about how you're supposed to go about your work. You know, I've always said about Mo, you know, he's extremely focused on that day, that week, that month, that year, and never shortchanges himself, is always prepared, gives everything that he has on a daily basis, and does not let what happens in the game determine who he is as a person.
Sorry, Joe.
The game is obviously very important to us, but that's not who you are. It's what you do. And I think Mo reflects that as well as anyone I've ever seen.
Standing in the back.
Joe, because of your very close relationship with these two guys, does this have a little more meaning to you than the usual?
Yeah, it does. Probably a little bit more sadness, too, in a sense, to see them. You know, I'm extremely happy for them. They're going out the way they want. But you're going to miss them being around here every day. There's no doubt about it. And being able to play alongside them and knowing what they meant to the club, being able to manage them and knowing what they mean, not only on the field but also inside that clubhouse, those are two guys that aren't easily replaced inside the clubhouse. We know they're not easily replaced on the field, but inside the clubhouse as well. And I will miss them. I had a chance to play alongside them when, you know, there were a lot of, you know, World Series victories here, and for me, it was really enjoyable.
Dave, and then just pass it across the aisle, Dave.
Joe, not that you ever need an excuse to use Rivera in a game, but is it a safe bet that you'd probably find a spot for him to pitch regardless of the circumstance?
You know, I don't feel necessarily a pressure right now to put him in the game because of what lies in front of us. You know, you might need him 5 out of 6 days next week, and you would hate to make it where you used him 6 out of 8. So I don't necessarily feel a pressure. Will that change as the day goes on? I don't know, but right now I don't, because I think you have to focus on what the ultimate goal is.
Were there times through the years, especially when you were catching, when you sensed when hitters were going up against Mariano, either from their body language or even something they may have said to you behind the plate, that they were already out even before the first pitch was thrown?
No, I don't think necessarily already out, but you knew that they were in for a very difficult at bat, and players have said, you know, it's late, the cut is late, and it's hard to pick it up, and you think you're on it, you're not on it, your bat's shattered in half, and but I don't think a player would ever let on that he was out before he. I mean, you don't get to this point in your career with the competitive nature you have and say that. And some guys probably even took it upon themselves as a bigger challenge. Man, I want to be the one against Mo, and most of the time they weren't.
All the way in the back, Joe.
Joe, you spoke a few minutes ago about Mo's character. In terms of his pitching, though, what is your sense of how he's been able to do what he's been able to do for so long?
Well, I think he was extremely blessed with a gift, number one. And number two, I think he used that gift to the best of his ability and kept it simple. His mechanics were impeccable. He was an outstanding fielder, an outstanding athlete that didn't try to trick people, just went right at them and didn't waste pitches in a sense. You know, I mean, this is a guy that would close a game in 10 pitches, close a game in 8 pitches, and you could use him on a regular basis because he never threw a ton of pitches per inning, and he mastered his craft as well as anyone I've ever seen.
To your right, Sweeney.
Joe, you've talked a couple of times about the impact in the clubhouse and the example they set about how to do their work. There was a small group of guys that set that example for a long time and have multiple rings to back it up. Do you want? I know Derek is planning on coming back next year, but do you wonder at all where that example is coming from for the Yankees for the next several years?
Well, it will come from within. It definitely will come from within that clubhouse, and guys will step up. I mean, that's what happens is life changes and people move on. Other people step up, but I think we're too far away from that right now to determine who's going to do that, because with faces leaving, there's always new faces coming. But I don't have any doubt that somebody will step up.
Back to your left, Kenny.
Joe, do you have a starter for Tuesday?
No, I have not put out a rotation yet, no.
Wait to see how today goes.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be Hero on Tuesday. It's going to be Hero on Tuesday, yeah.
Okay. So you'll skip over.
Yeah. I'm not worried about Tuesday. I'm trying to focus on today. Yeah.
Tyler.
Joe, you caught
second row.
You caught Mo before he had the cutter in '96, and then after '97, '8, '9. Do you remember a moment ever when you saw that pitch for the first time? You're like, this guy's already good, but this is.
I got to tell you, I don't remember him not having a cutter. I don't. You know, the biggest difference between I see Mo now and when I caught him is twofold. He didn't have the sinker when I caught him. So that was something he developed along the way as he decided he had to keep right-handed hitters more honest. And that was something that has been very effective for him. The other thing that he did a lot more when I caught him because of his power is he elevated in the zone when he was ahead in the count. And that's not something he does as much anymore because he doesn't have the 96, 97 that he used to have. But it was a real treat to catch him, and I will. You know, I've said over and over, he's the greatest pitcher I ever caught, and he was the easiest pitcher I ever caught.
Standing up,
Joe. Can you talk about the peace that he has brought to you as a manager, if there is such a thing as peace for a manager?
He's
just
brought comfort.
Just knowing he was out there.
He brought comfort to me as a player. He brought comfort to me as a manager. As a player, you know, when he started to really make his mark, he used to say, you know, I'd be catching the game. I only have to get the starter through 5. That's all you have to do, you know, in big games, because Mo can probably give you 3 innings if you need him that day. And if it's not 3, you know that he can give you 2, so you only have to get him through the starter through 6. And that's a comfort. You know, and I've said, you know, even this last month, you know, you start backing it up. How many innings does a starter necessarily have to give you? And you feel that when Mo comes in, the game is over. And that's an advantage for your club because there's a piece in your players, too. And there's a concern on the other side. And for that, he's given me a lot of peace.
Bill.
Yeah, Joe, probably the greatest asset a closer can have is the ability to put a blown save behind him for eternity, I guess. Did you, though, in all the years that you've been around him, ever know him to have a really bad time
Carry one,
after
yeah.
blowing a save?
I can't remember one. I really can't. And, I think people wondered in 1997 when we lost that game in Cleveland, how would Mo respond the next year? There were no concerns, from us because we had seen him turn the page. But I've never seen it affect him from a personality standpoint the next day. And it's really hard to see it affect him from a personality standpoint that day because he's the same all the time. And I think that's extremely important as a closer because I think it allows him to bounce back and have that confidence the next day that game's over.
Extremely rare, too.
Oh, I think it's extremely rare.
Anybody that's ever been that way?
Well, I mean, you could talk about starting pitchers, position players. I mean, a lot of times guys have a hard time doing that, but that's not something Mo has ever had.
Jorge.
Joe, what would you think is the best piece of advice you would give both guys about what it's like to be retired and sort of the best way to handle that?
Well, the first piece of advice is that I would give them is I don't think men is called that we're called to be idled. I think we're called to work in life, and whatever you choose to do is your choice. But for me, hello. For me, I went to work right away because I knew that when spring training rolled around, it would be kind of strange not to be doing something. And you don't have to be, I would tell them, be with your family more because you don't want to be gone 100 and 225 straight days. But I still think you have to do something to give back to society and your family.
Would you advise them to manage?
If they wanted.
Who else? Clap.
Joe, actually, we talked
You're
about
not
this.
allowed to ask questions.
We talked about this Friday night, but without Mariano and Andy next year, your job is obviously going to be tougher as a manager, but as a man, would you feel like you're going to be less connected to your team in 2014 because it's going to be a turnover, it's going to be a different generation of players? I mean, will it be less gratifying to you in any way?
No, it won't be less gratifying. I think it will take time to get to know the new players. I had to get to know a lot of new players this year. As a matter of fact, probably about 30 of them during the course of the season. But no, it doesn't become less gratifying. It's just part of the job, and you understand that there's changeover. Really, in any walk of life, there's changeover, and you just deal with it.
Take a few more, or if there are any. Sorry.
Joe, obviously Mariano has done a lot of great things. I'm curious where it ranks for you to see him come out with all these multiple inning appearances here in September at his age and be able to, in large measure, keep you guys in this pennant race in September.
Well, I just think it tells you who he is. As I talked about, he does everything that he possibly can to be successful and to help a team. He prepares himself physically, mentally. And to be able to do that at 43 is mind-boggling to me. I really believe that in our lifetime, I don't know if we'll be able to say that about another pitcher that could do what he's done at the age of 43. I really don't. And we have watched something that is truly special. And what he's done for this year has been special as well.